the verdict on Justin Fields. And I've got a hell of a defense case laid out for him. I almost wanted to get my gavel so I could declare my case closed, maybe get a little suit and tie going on, a little fedora, I don't know, to let you guys know that I'm out here defending this guy, okay? Call it Lewis and Defenses LLC, whatever you guys want to throw it out there as the defense that I'm about to give for Justin Fields. I'll let you take the floor first, but I just want to put some of the bad things out there, some of the numbers that are floating around about Justin Fields, right? So the Bears have had Justin Fields start 27 games so far in the NFL. He's 5-22 in those games, 5 wins, 22 losses. He's been sacked 101 times. His completion percentage is 59.8. He's thrown 26 touchdowns to 24 interceptions. He's fumbled 31 times, lost 8 of those fumbles, and he's averaging just 156.5 passing yards per game in his career. Got a little bit more before we get into the actual topics of it, just so we can get kind of the consensus of Justin Fields before we do for me, or maybe don't for you, JT, jump into the defense and the verdict of him. He leads the NFL since joining the league with sacks of being in the pocket 4 seconds or longer. He holds the ball the second longest behind Zach Wilson since entering the league at just over 3 seconds. I think Zach is like 3.04, 3.03. Fields is like 3.01, 3.02. So basically the worst in the league at holding the football in the pocket. His fourth quarter passer rating is 61.9, the lowest of his passer rating over the 4 quarters of his total career. His first half / his scripted plays and even his first quarter passer rating is the second lowest out of his passer ratings with the quarters he's played. His passer rating when leading in a game is 62. He's thrown 2 touchdowns to 7 interceptions when he's leading in a game. And just some of the names that you can think of, right? Like, oh, wow, Mac Jones has a great passer rating when leading, and Baker Mayfield has a great passer rating when leading. Well, how do they get those leads, really? Look at the coaching for Mac Jones with Bill Belichick, the defense, the culture that he landed in. Baker Mayfield didn't land in the best spot, but he was eventually given the best running back tandem. OBJ, who he didn't use, the tight end room, the O-line, the defense, the front seven. Kevin Stefanski comes in, wins Coach of the Year. So that's kind of all the bad shit out there for Justin Fields, right? But let's start off with our defense, or I guess slamming case of Justin Fields here, JT. With this loaded 2024 quarterback class, how much pressure is on the Chicago Bears to make a decision on Justin Fields? Whether you want to do a scale of 1 to 10, fire off the hook. Defense case for you starts now.
Man, I think 0, man. I don't think there's no pressure on Justin Fields, because it's like, if Justin Fields is ass this year, guess what? They get a top 5 pick, Caleb Williams. So that's a blessing in disguise. Caleb Williams with DJ Moore? Are you crazy? Justin Fields has produced this year. Now, if he doesn't play, he'll still be a starting quarterback to take a chance on that just because of the raw athleticism. And you see, I love Justin Fields. This is my favorite player in the league, but I don't have any more excuses to make for him.
I wonder why you had him on your thumbnails for every live. I see him and Caleb Williams. I'm like, he likes him. I like it.
Yeah, Fields, but I'm at the point now that I was with Jameis Winston, because Jameis Winston was my favorite player too, but Deuce, you feel me? And when he was, unfortunately, He got injured. Justin Fields is like, I can't really make nor still kind of has the same issues that he had in college. He holds on to the ball too long. You reference how him and Zach Wilson, any other quarterback in the league. Well,
that's wild to me, right?
People on ESPN is for Justin Fields, and people aren't realizing that. All people do is look at the box. Sack 6 times, the offensive line stinks. No, if you go back and you watch that game, 3 out of 6 of those sacks were on Justin Fields. Again, 2 of those sacks came when he ran right into pressure. It was a third down where was getting into him. The pocket was collapsing, and instead of running outside the pocket and choose that way, he decides to step up and try to run from inside of the pocket. Tried to step up and then try the middle, and it wasn't even there. He ran right into a sack. Now,
and Justin Fields wasn't a runner in college. That's what people forget. Like, he can move around, but he diced you out from the pocket.
Exactly. He had such elite level offensive line play and receivers that it allowed shit from throwing the football from inside the pocket. Plus, when you're just so much more talented, what's good, Jay? So much more talented as a team. Your quarterback doesn't really get put in situation. You get to see what they can do when everything isn't working. CJ Stroud. The reason why so tremendously was because he showed against Georgia when everything's not working, he can still improve in Fields. We know that, but you still have to be able to win from within the pocket, and we've yet to really see him take. So I do think that Justin Fields, I don't really think there's too many excuses you can continue when he completely missed DJ Moore, who was open on that that flat route. That was some Mitch Trubisky shit. How many times did we
got
see
DJ Moore throwing his hands up in the second game of the season?
Clapping. People love Justin Fields, but a large reason why people defend him so hard is because of the put in place for him potentially winning the MVP. But here's the problem.
I love him, but not that much.
Yeah, like he never earned those expectations.
Right.
You feel me?
Right.
It just are assuming that Justin Fields is going to make it all work, but he wasn't really that great last year. He was great because of what he was doing from a fantasy to
in his legs. Did I lose you? I might have lost you, JT. Froze up on my end. I'll drop you out and pop you back in. You still with me, man? I might have lost you. I'll pick up where you were leaving. Okay, he dropped out. We'll get him back in a second. I'm sure he'll drop in. JT was saying there, though, with the loaded 2024 quarterback class, how much pressure is on Chicago to make a decision on Justin Fields? And I think there's more pressure than ever on the Chicago Bears, specifically the Chicago Bears, to make a decision with Justin Fields, because this is the best quarterback prospect class since, ironically, ding, 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 Justin Fields is in 2021, when we saw Trevor Lawrence go number 1 overall, when we see Zach Wilson, when we obviously see Trey Lance, who mistakenly went at number 3. We see Mac Jones. We see Justin Fields go out in this NFL draft. So this is one of the most loaded NFL drafts that we've seen in terms of the quarterback position in a very long time. JT, I'll let you pick back up on your point. I was just kind of talking about how I do think the pressure is on Chicago, but I want to let you finish your statement there before you dropped out.
Yeah, it's like with the Chicago Bears, it's like the pressure really is on the coach and staff. You feel me? Flus is going to be gone after this year. But when it comes to the general manager, Ryan Pace's job of building this team, assembling a really solid roster, they still got some questions on the offensive line, solid group. I think that, not enough people are giving Justin Fields a fair amount of, and it seemed like he's just in a compromising situation. Like, it's a little bit of both. The coaching hasn't been, the play calling got to be better. It's like Justin Fields never threw the ball more than 30 times last season. In all the games that he started, the most he threw the ball was 28 times. This season, 37 and 29 times. Those are nearly career highs for passing attempts for him. And he's not a passer, like 4 times against the Bucs and 9 times against the Green Bay Packers. So the Chicago Bears, I know you heard about how he called out the coaching somewhat in his
for his robotic play.
It's like he kind of had a point with that. It's like, man, like I'm Justin Fields, like let me do what I do. He said that sometimes he gets a little bit overloaded with the information. That means that
you can overcoach a player.
Exactly. That's why he said that he kind of feels robotic and he kind of overthinks.
He said he was just going to say, F it, get out of his head, start playing football, doing what he knows best. And it's like, in the NFL, when you first hear that, you're like, huh? But then you're like, when you're in the league, you can't study on game day. You can't watch tape on game day. You're not going over in-depth practice stuff and walkthroughs and, offensive installs, defensive schemes on game day. You have to know that. So when you show up on game day, you're studied, you prepared, you don't have to think, because the ball snaps and within your first 2 reads, oh, that's cover 2. That's a single. So like you're pointing that stuff out. And I think that's the point that Justin Fields needs to get to. That this is going to be a great segment. We got the viewers coming in as well. So let's really ramp it up. But I do think that the pressure in terms of the Chicago Bears and Justin Fields. I think it's on the Bears more than ever. I was saying it before you jump back into the link on the show. This is the best quarterback prospect class since Justin Fields came in 2021 with a Mac Jones, with a Trevor Lawrence, with a Zach Wilson, with a Trey Lance. And in my opinion, Justin Fields was by far and away the number 2 quarterback prospect in that class. Not Zach Wilson, who threw 50-50 balls. Not Mac Jones, who I wasn't really a fan of coming out of Alabama. Yeah, he was a winner, but we've seen the quarterbacks that had come out of Alabama. I give that exception to Tua and to Jalen and to maybe Bryce Young if he can stay healthy. We saw with Trey Lance, who was very raw. I call Anthony Richardson Trey Lance 2.0, but it seems like Anthony Richardson, with just 13 college games played under the tutelage of Shane Steichen, is clearly an amazing player, or so we hope so he can stay healthy as well. And we know that Justin Fields has shown nothing as a player this far to warrant a 5th-year option being picked up by the Chicago Bears. But if you're looking at Chicago as a coaching staff, which I'm absolutely about to obliterate when we get into who do you blame for this, the coaching staff has all the pressure on them to actually get it right. And I went through some offensive and defensive ranks, previous head coaches, what they actually did in their tenure there.